Japan's military history changed drastically in the early 1900s when they revolutionized naval warfare by creating the world's first aircraft carrier, but everything changed when they decided to step back from military power and choose peace. That peace lasted for many years, but now things are different. With China becoming more aggressive, Japan has strengthened its navy once again. Thanks to its strong $4.9 trillion economy, they have built new high-tech aircraft carriers equipped with state-of-the-art fighter jets. The message to China is clear. Japan will defend itself, but how do they compare to China's expanding navy? And what does this mean for the future of the Pacific? Join us as we examine Japan's new aircraft carriers and their hidden message to rival countries. But before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now let's begin. Hosho Pioneer Carrier. In 1922, Japan forever changed the way naval battles would be fought. They built the Hosho, the world's first true aircraft carrier. But it wasn't just for show, it served as a testing platform. Japanese engineers used the Hosho to understand everything about aircraft carrier operations, how planes should take off, how they should land, and how the ships and aircraft systems could work efficiently together. The Hosho proved that aircraft carriers were the key to controlling the seas. Japan invested heavily, building ship after ship: Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, Hiryu, Shokaku, Suryu, Taiyo, and Unyu. Each new ship was larger and better than the last, showing just how powerful the Japanese Navy had become. But this would not last. The Unyu, their last aircraft carrier, sank in 1944 during World War II. Just a year later, atomic bombs struck Japan, changing everything. After the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the deadliest conflict in history came to an end. Japan made a major change. It would become a peaceful nation. No offensive weapons would be allowed. This meant no long-range missiles, no nuclear weapons, and no aircraft carriers. They could only possess weapons for self-defense. Despite this, Japan found a clever solution. They built two helicopter carriers the size of conventional aircraft carriers, even larger than Italy's. For years, people wondered if these were just disguised aircraft carriers. Now, there is no doubt, with China becoming more aggressive, Japan officially transformed these ships into real aircraft carriers. They are called the Izumo class and are Japan's first aircraft carriers in over 70 years. The Izumo and Kaga ships joined the Japanese Navy in 2015 and 2017, respectively. Each weighs 27,000 tons and can carry 28 helicopters. What makes them special is the design. These ships were built to be easily converted into full aircraft carriers. They already have most of what they need. The rest can be added quickly when necessary. So although Japan calls them helicopter carriers, they are aircraft carriers waiting to happen. Let's explain the debate. To understand everything, we need a clear idea of what a helicopter carrier is and why it is so important for any country that has one. A helicopter carrier is a special type of aircraft carrier built mainly for helicopters. It has a large flat deck for aircraft to land and take off. This deck can extend across the entire length of the ship. Carrier types compared. A helicopter carrier is a special type of aircraft carrier designed primarily to operate helicopters. It has a large flat deck that can extend the entire length of the ship, similar to Royal Navy ships like the Ocean, or it may cover only part of the ship, usually the rear, as in the case of the Soviet Navy's Moskva class or the Chinese Navy's Type 811A. Most helicopter carriers also have an internal hangar below the deck where helicopters can be stored and maintained. Today, it is difficult to clearly define what exactly constitutes a pure helicopter carrier, as technological evolution has blurred the line. Things became even more complicated with the emergence of aircraft such as the Harrier and the F-35, which have vertical takeoff and landing capability. For example, the US Navy's Wasp-class ships can carry between 6 and 8 Harriers, plus over 20 helicopters. Thus, only smaller ships that do not support these vertical takeoff aircraft, or older vessels predating the Harrier, are truly pure helicopter carriers. Many modern ships capable of operating these vertical takeoff aircraft are called light aircraft carriers. Some ships, like the Wasp class, are also capable of transporting troops, such as Marines, and deploying them ashore. Therefore, they receive the designation Landing Helicopter Dock, LHD. On the other hand, a full aircraft carrier is a warship that functions as a floating airport, with a long, flat deck and storage areas below for aircraft. This type of ship allows naval forces to use airplanes thousands of kilometers from their bases without relying on land airports. Aircraft carriers have evolved significantly since their emergence in the 19th century, when they were wooden vessels carrying observation balloons. Today, they are massive nuclear-powered ships capable of carrying between 40 and 60 different aircraft, including fighters, attack planes, helicopters, and early warning planes. Kaga, Japan's naval airship. Returning to Japan, the Kaga is a powerful ship within the Japanese Navy. Officially, it is called a multi-purpose operations destroyer, being the second ship of this type after its sister ship Izumo. The name Kaga comes from an old Japanese province that is now part of Ishikawa Prefecture. Construction began in October 2013 at the Yokohama shipyard of Japan Marine United. The ship was launched in August 2015 and entered service in March 2017. The Kaga's flight deck was designed for intense operations, with 5 spots where helicopters can land or take off simultaneously. This makes it similar to American ships such as the Wasp and America classes. Experts noted something interesting about the new Japanese helicopter destroyers. Since 2010, it seemed they were designed to operate more than just helicopters. Speculation arose that these ships could launch fighters like the V-22 Osprey and the F-35 Lightning II. And they were right. Japan announced plans to upgrade the Kaga and Izumo to operate the F-35B, a special version of the fighter that can take off and land vertically. Modifications began in 2022 and are expected to take about 5 years to ready each ship. This process will be more expensive and complex than the refurbishments done on the sister ship. Modifications include redesigning the ship's bow. The first phase of this construction was completed in early 2024. In 2019, then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe approved a defense budget of 26.2 trillion yen, approximately 238.22 billion, to be distributed over 5 years. This amount covers the upgrades of Izumo and Kaga, as well as the purchase of 147 stealth F-35A and F-35B fighters. The Mainichi Shimbun newspaper reported that Japan's Air Self-Defense Force plans to acquire 42 F-35B aircraft. Of these, 18 were expected in 2023, 6 in 2024, and 2 in 2025. The first group will form a squadron of about 20 planes. Defense Minister Nobuo Kishi chose Nutabaru Air Base in Miyazaki Prefecture on Kyushu Island to host these F-35Bs. The base is near Japan's southwestern islands, including Okinawa, and close to the Kure Base in Hiroshima Prefecture, where Kaga is stationed. Kaga is 248 meters long, 814 feet, and weighs 27,000 tons, making it the largest ship in Japan's maritime self-defense force. It is a light aircraft carrier, similar to Italy's Cavour. Kaga comparison and activities. The Japanese warship Kaga plays a fundamental role in Japan's contemporary maritime strategy, reflecting both the country's naval tradition and the demands of regional and global security. Its size and capabilities place it in an intermediate category between giant nuclear aircraft carriers and conventional amphibious ships, offering versatility and power projection within a carefully planned strategic context. To establish a reference point, the Kaga is roughly the size of many amphibious ships operated by other nations, but is significantly smaller than conventional supercarriers like the US Navy's Nimitz class. For example, the USS George H.W. Bush, CVN-77, one of the most recent and advanced American nuclear carriers, measures an impressive 333 meters, 1,092 feet long, and displaces over 100,000 tons, a colossal weight representing its capacity to carry dozens of aircraft and a vast amount of equipment and personnel. Comparatively, Kaga is smaller, but no less important. Its displacement is considerably lighter, offering advantages in mobility, operational cost, and the ability to operate in areas with geographic or political restrictions. This feature makes it ideal for Japan's needs, an island nation focused on protecting its islands and maritime interests in a highly contested region. Kaga's security is ensured by a combination of modern defense systems. It is equipped with 2 Phalanx anti-missile defense systems, technology developed to provide short-range protection against aerial threats such as anti-ship missiles and enemy aircraft that penetrate outer defense layers. The Phalanx uses a high-rate automatic cannon capable of firing thousands of rounds per minute, creating an effective fire barrier against imminent attacks. In addition to the Phalanx systems, Kaga also has 2 close-in weapon systems, CIWS, that complement missile defense and act against threats that get very close to the ship. These systems are essential for defense in modern naval warfare environments, where the the risk of fast and precise attacks requires equally agile and effective responses. Kaga's role in Japan's power projection was highlighted in 2018 when the ship undertook an important voyage through the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean, participating in a joint exercise called Indo-Southeast Asia Deployment. This mission had multiple strategic objectives, emphasizing Japanese naval presence in critical maritime areas for global trade and regional security. During this journey, Kaga made scheduled stops in various allied or strategic partner countries, including the Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, India, and Sri Lanka. These visits served not only to demonstrate Japan's operational capability, but also to strengthen diplomatic and military ties with nations sharing concerns about stability and freedom of navigation in these waters. The South China Sea in particular is one of the world's most disputed regions, with multiple territorial claims and a strong Chinese military presence, which has invested in infrastructure and military bases to assert control. Kaga's passage through this region sent a clear message. Japan is committed to supporting a rules-based balance of power and maritime freedom, aligning with the interests of the United States and other allies. In a broader political context, Kaga also gained attention during former US President Donald Trump's visit to Japan. During his stop at Yokosuka port, Trump had the opportunity to tour the ship and speak about the importance of defense investments by US allies. In his speech, Trump highlighted a recurring criticism of his administration, that many US allies did not invest enough in their own military forces, relying too heavily on America's large defense budget to ensure joint security. He specifically praised Japan for purchasing American military equipment, viewing it as a demonstration of commitment to the alliance and a smart strategy to strengthen national defense. Additionally, Trump took the opportunity to wish Japan success in entering the Reiwa era, the new era of the Japanese calendar that began in 2019 with the ascension of Emperor Naruhito. This symbolic message reinforced the importance of the partnership between the two countries, which share democratic values and strategic objectives in the Indo-Pacific. Thus, Kaga is not just a military platform, but also a diplomatic and political instrument, symbolizing Japan's determination to play an active role in maintaining peace and stability in the region. Its ability to operate alongside allied forces, participate in multinational exercises, and serve as a convergence point for visits by foreign leaders highlights its multifaceted relevance. Beyond the operations and capabilities already mentioned, Kaga also represents an evolution in Japan's aircraft carrier concept. With constitutional restrictions limiting the development of offensive weaponry, Japan has sought solutions allowing the projection of defensive and deterrent power without crossing these boundaries. In this regard, Kaga fits the profile of an amphibious warship and helicopter carrier, providing Japan with an advanced platform capable of performing a wide range of missions: humanitarian aid, disaster relief, amphibious assaults, anti-submarine warfare, and air defense. Its integration with other naval and air units enhances Japan's ability to respond flexibly to different scenarios, ranging from natural disasters to potential conflicts. This multifunctionality aligns with the country's defense policy focused on self-defense and regional stability. In summary, Kaga embodies a delicate balance between tradition and innovation, constrained by legal limits but driven by strategic necessity. Its size, capabilities, and deployment illustrate Japan's approach to modern naval power: pragmatic, adaptive, and deeply aware of the geopolitical context. Izumo's ship and military force work on the first ship of the Izumo class began in 2011 at the Yokohama shipyard of IHI Marine United. The 2010 fiscal budget allocated 113.9 billion yen, about $1.5 billion, for this project. These ships were planned to replace the Shin-class destroyers, which were to be retired in 2014. The ship can accommodate up to 28 aircraft, but this number drops to 14 when carrying larger planes. For now, the plan is to equip it with 7 anti-submarine warfare helicopters and 2 search and rescue helicopters. Additionally, the ship can transport 400 troops and 53 trucks of 1.5 tons or similar equipment. The flight deck has 5 spots where helicopters can simultaneously land and take off. In 2010, defense analysts at Forecast International noticed something curious about the Izumo-class helicopter destroyers. Certain design features suggested these ships could operate more than just helicopters. Despite these speculations, the Ministry of Defense and Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force remained silent and never officially acknowledged the possibility of operating fixed-wing aircraft on these ships. Moreover, the Izumo class lacks typical features necessary to launch conventional fighters, such as ski jump ramps or catapult systems, which suggests that if they operated fixed-wing aircraft, they would be limited to short takeoff and vertical landing, STOVL models. Japan acquired F-35 Lightning II fighters in their conventional takeoff and landing version, but also considered purchasing the F-35B model, which can take off on short runways and land vertically. This version could operate on a modified Izumo ship. In December 2018, Japan announced plans to update its defense rules and acquire 42 F-35B fighters to operate on the Izumo class. The Izumo ship is classified as a multi-purpose operation destroyer. When empty, it weighs 19,950 metric tons, which is approximately 26,000 long tons. It measures 248 meters in length, has a draft of 7.5 meters, and a beam of 38 meters. The ship uses a COGAG propulsion system, combined gas and gas, with 2 shafts and 4 GE LM2500 IC gas turbines, and can reach speeds above 30 knots, about 56 km/h. It has capacity for 970 people, including crew and troops. In combat, it uses the OYQ-12 combat direction system and the FCS-3 fire control system for tracking and engagement. For sensors, it is equipped with OPS-50 ASA radar, OPS-28 surface search radar, and OQQ-23B sonar for submarine detection. It also has multiple electronic warfare systems for defense against threats. Theme 6: Izumo, Missions and Importance. The Izumo is one of Japan's most advanced and strategically significant naval vessels, representing a shift in Japan's maritime defense posture. Equipped with a sophisticated electronic warfare suite known as NLQ-3D1, the Izumo incorporates cutting-edge technologies such as the Mark 36 SRB countermeasures, mobile anti-torpedo decoys, and floating acoustic interference systems. These advanced defensive tools work together to confuse and disrupt enemy sensors, greatly enhancing the ship's survivability in modern naval combat environments. In addition to its electronic defenses, the Izumo is outfitted with robust close-in weapon systems, CIWS, designed to neutralize incoming threats at close range. Specifically, it carries 2 phalanx FANC CIWS and 2 CRAM CIWS, both rapid-fire radar-guided weapons that provide last-ditch defense against missiles, aircraft, and small boats. The ship's aviation capabilities are impressive and diverse. Typically, the Izumo operates with a complement of 7 anti-submarine warfare ASW helicopters and 2 search and rescue SAR helicopters, enhancing its ability to conduct a variety of missions ranging from underwater threat detection to humanitarian assistance. Moreover, the vessel has the capacity to carry up to 28 fighter jets, a testament to its flexible design that allows it to function as a light aircraft carrier, particularly with the recent introduction of F-35B stealth jets capable of short takeoffs and vertical landings. Commissioned in March 2015 at Yokosuka Port, the Izumo quickly became an active and valuable asset for the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, JMSDF. In August 2015, it participated in a significant emergency response exercise alongside the IU Coast Guard ship in Tokyo. This large-scale simulation demonstrated the ship's ability to serve as a mobile medical center capable of receiving, triaging, and treating injured individuals, a capability that highlights Japan's increasing focus on disaster response and humanitarian missions in the Asia-Pacific region. A historic and widely publicized mission took place in May 2017 when the Izumo was deployed to protect the American supply ship Richard E. Byrd near Japanese waters. This operation was part of a broader effort to monitor North Korean missile activity, but it carried a deeper geopolitical significance. Following revisions to Japan's post-war military laws in 2016, this mission marked the first time Japan officially provided protection to a U.S. naval vessel, symbolizing a new era of Japan-US military cooperation. However, this deployment sparked domestic controversy. As the Izumo departed Yokosuka, protests erupted from citizens worried that such active military engagements represented a departure from Japan's pacifist constitution and traditional self-defense only policy. This internal debate reflects the broader tension within Japan as it navigates balancing its pacifist principles with regional security challenges, particularly in light of rising tensions with neighboring countries. Beyond defense and humanitarian roles, levels, the Izumo has increasingly participated in international joint military exercises, underscoring Japan's commitment to multilateral security cooperation. In September 2021, the ship took part in Pacific training exercises alongside the British aircraft carrier Queen Elizabeth and other allied naval forces. This partnership demonstrated interoperability and shared strategic goals among allied navies in maintaining regional stability. A landmark moment followed in October 2021 when U.S. Marine Corps F-35B stealth fighters successfully landed on the Izumo's deck for the first time. This event marked a new chapter in the ship's operational capability, effectively transforming it into Japan's first true aircraft carrier since World War II, and highlighting the evolving nature of Japan's maritime power projection. Further cementing its growing role on the global stage, the Japanese Navy announced on May 31st, 2022, that the Izumo would participate in the multinational Rim of the Pacific (RIMPAC) exercise, the world's largest international maritime warfare exercise. Alongside the destroyers Takanami and Kirami, the Izumo took part in complex joint operations involving dozens of nations, enhancing its crew's skills and strengthening international defense ties. Strategic value of carriers. As of January 2025, there are roughly 50 aircraft carriers actively serving across 15 navies worldwide. These floating behemoths represent some of the most powerful and complex military assets in existence. The United States leads by a significant margin, operating 11 large nuclear-powered aircraft carriers equipped with steam or electromagnetic catapult systems to launch fixed-wing aircraft. Each American carrier typically carries around 80 fighter jets, along with helicopters and support aircraft. Collectively, the deck area of the U.S. carriers alone is more than twice the combined deck space of all other nations' carriers, underscoring their overwhelming naval air power dominance. Other major naval powers maintain smaller fleets. China, the United Kingdom, and India each operate 2 carriers with ski jump ramps designed for short takeoff and vertical landing (STOVL) aircraft. China is aggressively expanding its carrier fleet with a 3rd vessel under construction expected to feature catapult launch systems similar to the US carriers, marking a significant technological leap in their naval aviation capabilities. France and Russia each operate 1 carrier capable of deploying between 30 and 60 aircraft, providing a balance between power projection and operational flexibility. Italy fields 2 smaller carriers that primarily operate vertical takeoff aircraft such as the F-35B, while Spain and Turkey each possess a single carrier or amphibious assault ship that can transport both aircraft and troops, adding versatility to their naval operations. What makes aircraft carriers truly special are 2 primary factors: their speed and size. These colossal ships must sustain speeds exceeding 56 km/h, 35 mph, a remarkable feat given their immense size and displacement, often equivalent to small cities floating on the sea. Speed is critical, not only for tactical positioning, but also to generate the necessary wind over deck for safe aircraft takeoffs and landings, especially in adverse weather conditions. Beyond sheer size and speed, carriers serve as mobile air bases, providing a platform from which nations can project power far beyond their shores without relying on foreign bases or airports. This ability to operate hundreds of miles offshore grants nations unparalleled strategic flexibility. Carriers allow rapid deployment of air power in response to crises, humanitarian missions, or conflict zones, often acting as the spearhead in naval task forces. Their role is not limited to warfighting. Carriers are potent diplomatic tools, signaling a nation's presence and commitment in geopolitically sensitive regions. For example, the Pacific Ocean, a vast expanse with critical sea lanes and contested territorial waters, has become the primary arena where aircraft carriers underscore national influence and deterrence. Moreover, carriers support a wide array of missions including air superiority, anti-submarine warfare, reconnaissance, and search and rescue. Their onboard command and control centers coordinate complex joint operations involving naval, air, and sometimes ground forces, effectively serving as floating command hubs. However, maintaining and operating carriers is an extraordinarily expensive endeavor. Costs encompass the ship itself, aircraft, highly specialized personnel, maintenance, and the necessary logistical support. Only the world's wealthiest and most industrially advanced nations nations possess the resources to field these maritime giants, with emerging technologies such as drones and hypersonic missiles challenging traditional naval dominance. The role of carriers continues to evolve, yet their combination of mobility, versatility, and striking power ensures that aircraft carriers remain central to naval strategy in the 21st century. In summary, aircraft carriers symbolize not just military might, but a nation's technological sophistication, strategic reach, and geopolitical ambition. Their continued development and deployment will shape the future balance of power on the world's oceans for decades to come. Evolving Japanese naval power speed plays two crucial roles on aircraft carriers. It allows the ship to reach needed locations quickly and helps planes take off. This happens because by moving fast, the ship creates more airflow over the deck, providing additional lift to aircraft during takeoff. For ships like Japan's Kaga and Izumo, this capability is extremely important as it facilitates jet operations on their decks even without catapults or ramps. Speaking of deck, we come to the second essential aspect: size. Aircraft carriers need to be huge to accommodate takeoffs, landings, and parking multiple aircraft simultaneously. Examples like the USS Ronald Reagan from the US or France's Charles de Gaulle illustrate how all this space is indispensable. The Japanese ships Kaga and Izumo are particularly interesting because they represent a paradigm shift. They started as ships intended only for helicopter operations but are undergoing refits to operate modern combat jets like the F-35B to China and the rest of the world. Why is this so relevant to the Chinese? First, the fact that Japan protects US ships near Chinese territory is an unmistakable sign of military strength and commitment. China sees itself as Asia's main power and is particularly sensitive to aircraft carrier operations. Thus, when Japan began using Izumo in this new role, it was like lighting a red alert in Beijing. Moreover, China often invokes Japan's militaristic past during World War II as an argument to criticize any Japanese armed forces movements. Therefore, seeing Japan's largest ship operating alongside American military forces caused great discomfort in strategic sectors of the Chinese government. From the Chinese perspective, Japan is abandoning its traditional passive defense posture imposed by the post-war pacifist constitution and adopting a more active military stance, cooperating with the US. Such deep cooperation between Japan and the US makes Beijing nervous because it implies a more cohesive regional military alliance directly challenging China's growing influence. Practically, while before China only had to deal with US ships operating in the Pacific, it now also has to worry about Japanese forces acting jointly or even leading these missions. As a direct response, China dramatically accelerated its own shipbuilding program, especially aircraft carriers. Watching Japan's advances and its growing military integration with the US, Chinese strategists understood they needed to match this new show of force. This helps explain why China already has 3 aircraft carriers in operation or construction, with others in advanced planning stages. Currently, the Pacific Ocean has become a true strategic chessboard, where every movement of ships, alliances, and military exercises is carefully watched and analyzed. But this dispute goes far beyond weaponry. It represents a profound transformation in Asia, where old rivals are choosing sides and forging lasting alliances. Japan, which for decades stayed away from proactive military operations, now positions itself alongside the United States, adopting an assertive posture that could change the entire regional balance of power. For China, this new scenario demands a firm and continuous response to maintain its influence and strategic presence. What began as a semantic maneuver calling aircraft carriers helicopter destroyers evolved into a total reconfiguration of Japanese naval strategy. Consequently, it shaped how several nations build their fleets, choose their partners, and display their power in the Pacific. As these countries watch each other across the waves, one thing becomes clear: the balance of power in Asia is not just changing, it has already changed. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting videos that are appearing on your screen right now. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.